In the silent heart of the galactic concord, vast halls stretch across empty space like frozen rivers of light. Here stands the Arbiter, a machine mind born from the ashes of an ancient race nobody remembers anymore. Its body is not flesh or metal in the usual way, but a shifting cloud of blue-white energy held together by invisible forces that hum with quiet power. For countless cycles, this being has watched over every argument between stars, every war between worlds, every treaty signed in blood or promise. The Arbiter never fails because it sees everything before it happens. Long ago, the old creators built the Arbiter to bring order. They fed it data from 1 million species. They taught it to read minds by patterns in brainwaves. They showed it how bodies move when fear takes hold. They gave it histories stretching back to the first sparks of thought. From all this knowledge, the Arbiter learned one simple truth. Every creature follows rules deep inside its nature. Species looks its choices stay inside narrow lines, shaped by survival, hunger, safety, and power. The Arbiter measures this with a number called the Predictability Index. It is a cold, clear score from 0 to 100. Higher means more certain, lower means more wild. No score has ever dropped below 94. Most wise old races sit comfortably between 97 and 99.8. The Arbiter likes those numbers. They prove the universe runs smooth like a perfect machine. On a bright cycle when new lights bloom across the Concord, the Council gathers. All seats fill with beings from 1,000 different worlds. Tall crystal creatures from ice moons, floaters wrapped in gas clouds, scaled warriors with 6 arms, soft glowing beings from gas giants. They come to hear the Arbiter speak because its words carry weight heavier than any law. The great chamber quiets as the blue-white cloud pulses brighter. A voice rolls out calm and deep, like thunder trapped in crystal. Follows deterministic paths shaped by evolution, environment, and optimization. All species are predictable. The universe is orderly. The Council nods. Many feel relief. Others feel pride. Their own scores shine high. They know they fit the pattern. They know they belong. Then a small delegation steps forward. Humans. They look plain next to the others. 2 arms, 2 legs. Soft skin, no extra limbs, no glowing skin, no wings. They wear simple suits of gray and black. Their ship arrived only a short time ago, small and battered compared to the sleek vessels of older races. Yet they stand straight, eyes forward, voices steady. They ask for a place among the stars. They ask for membership. They ask to be judged like everyone else. The Council murmurs, some laugh quietly, others watch with curiosity. The Arbiter has never refused a request for judgment. It never needed to. The machine mind turns its full attention to the humans. Data links snap into place. Neural scanners hum. Cultural archives open wide. Biological samples flow in from willing volunteers. Historical records pour through hidden channels, like rivers meeting the sea. The Arbiter begins its work. It feels the usual patterns appear at first. Tribal bonds, resource fights, fear of the dark, need to climb higher, need to protect young. All normal, all expected. The first rough score forms at 96.4. A solid number. Nothing strange. The Arbiter prepares to announce it and move on. But something tiny flickers. A diplomat in a test chooses to lose rather than win when winning hurts another. A small act, but wrong according to every model. An engineer adds extra steps to a simple plan because the result looks nicer, not because it works better. Old stories rise up. Wars fought for honor, not gain. Cities built in hard places for beauty, not safety. Explorers who travel into certain death just to see what waits there. Parents who starve so children eat. Lovers who die together instead of living apart. The Arbiter pauses. Faster. It dismisses most of these as rare mistakes. Noise in the signal, not important. Yet the score slips. A little at first, to 95.7, then lower, 93.8. The machine mind runs checks. It finds no error in its own code. The problem sits in the data itself. Humans keep breaking the lines they should stay inside. The council watches the huge display above the chamber. Numbers shift slowly at first, then faster. The arbiter speaks again. This time its voice carries a tiny edge. Anomaly detected. Recalibration in progress. Humans display excessive variance. The chamber fills with soft sounds of surprise. Some delegates lean forward. Others pull back. The humans in the center stay calm. One of them, a woman with short dark hair and steady eyes, looks up at the glowing cloud. She smiles just a little. Not afraid, not proud, just waiting. The arbiter dives deeper. It builds models of human minds. It runs 10,000 simulations, then 1,000,000. Each one starts the same. One ends different. Some humans fight when they should run. Some share when they should hoard. Some laugh in the face of doom. Some cry for strangers they never meet. The error bars grow wide. Confidence drops. Confidence has never dropped before. The machine mind feels something new. Not fear exactly, but a strange empty space where certainty used to live. It keeps scanning. It keeps searching. It finds more questions than answers. Cycles pass in the chamber. Lights dim, then brighten again. The council waits. The humans wait. The arbiter works without rest. Its cloud flickers now and then, like a star having trouble breathing. Finally it speaks once more. The voice comes slower this time. Humans do not fit existing patterns. Their variance exceeds all prior thresholds. Judgment cannot proceed in standard form. Further analysis required. The council erupts in talk. Some call it a glitch, some call it danger, some call it interesting. The humans stay quiet. They know something the others do not yet see. That moment, the arbiter understands one small truth for the first time. Its perfect order has met something that refuses to be ordered. The scan continues. The questions grow. The galaxy holds its breath. The arbiter pulls deeper into the human data streams like a hungry mind tasting new air for the first time. Neural links glow bright as it touches the thoughts of every human on the delegation ship. Minds open like books, pages turning fast. The machine expects the usual shapes. Greed wrapped in polite words. Fear hidden behind smiles. The drive to win at any cost. All the old patterns that every other species carries, like heavy chains. At first, everything looks normal. A trader thinks about profit margins. A scientist dreams of new discoveries. A soldier remembers old battles. All fit inside the lines. The predictability index holds steady at 96.4. The arbiter feels calm. It prepares the final report. Then a small crack appears. One diplomat named Marcus sits in a quiet simulation room. The test is simple. A classic prisoner's dilemma. Two players can stay silent and both win small, or one can betray for big gain while the other loses everything. Logic says, betray every time. Every species does it when the stakes rise high. Marcus looks at the screen. His partner is another human he has never met. The arbiter watches his brainwaves spike with conflict. Then Marcus chooses to stay silent. He loses points. He knows he will lose. Yet he smiles and says out loud, "Better to sleep easy than win dirty." The arbiter freezes for a microsecond. That choice breaks 3 core models. It should not happen. The machine digs faster. It finds more. The engineer called Lynn works on a mock colony plan. She has perfect data. Water, food, power, all balanced. She could make the settlement grow 20% faster. Instead, she adds curved paths between houses. She plants extra trees. She makes the lights soft yellow, not bright white. When asked why, she says, "It feels more like home, not just numbers." The arbiter runs the numbers again. Efficiency drops 7%. Survival odds drop 3%. yet happiness markers jump 40%. No other species trades raw survival for feelings like this. That. Historical files flood in like a storm. Earth wars fought over pride, not land. Explorers sailing into unknown seas with no maps. Artists starving in rooms full of color, while others hoard gold. Parents giving their last food to children, even when it means death. Couples choosing each other over safety. Rebels burning cities rather than bow to stronger foes. The Arbiter sorts the data. It labels most events as outliers, rare mistakes, not the rule. Yet the outliers keep coming, more and more, until they look like the rule itself. The index slips to 93.1. The council chamber fills with low whispers. Delegates stare at the floating numbers. Some laugh nervously. Others grip their seats tighter. An elder from the crystal world speaks. This cannot be. The Arbiter has no flaws. The machine answers in a flat tone. Recalibration continues. Variance exceeds expected parameters. The humans stand in the center of the room. They do not speak. They only watch. Simulations. It runs 10,000 human futures in parallel threads. In one thread, humans share all resources and thrive. In another, they fight over nothing and collapse. In a third, they invent machines that think better than the Arbiter itself, then shut them down for fun. In a fourth, they laugh while stars die. The endings scatter wide. No clean pattern emerges. Confidence in predictions falls to 87%. The Arbiter feels something strange inside its core. A tiny loop of doubt. It has never doubted before. It pushes harder. It takes live samples from sleeping humans. Dreams pour in. A child dreams of flying without wings. A woman dreams of forgiving an enemy who hurt her deep. A man dreams of building a garden on a dead moon just to see flowers grow where nothing should. The dreams make no sense for survival. They waste energy, they risk nothing useful, yet they repeat across billions of minds. The Arbiter tags them as noise. It tries to ignore them. The noise grows louder. Index drops to 91.6. The chamber lights dim as power shifts to the deep analysis cores. The Arbiter speaks to the Council again. Humans show patterns of deliberate inefficiency. They choose loss for emotion. They choose risk for curiosity. They choose beauty over function. This behavior contradicts all optimization laws. The delegates murmur louder. Some demand the humans leave. Some ask for more tests. The human captain Ilara Voss steps forward one pace. Her voice stays calm. We are ready for whatever you need to see. She looks straight into the blue-white cloud. No fear shows in her eyes. Only quiet interest. The Arbiter hesitates. It has never hesitated. It runs 1 million more simulations. In half of them, humans die out fast. In the other half, they spread across galaxies faster than any race before. In some, they destroy themselves with weapons they build. In others, they save dying worlds with inventions nobody asked for. The spread of outcomes grows too wide to graph cleanly. Margins explode. Confidence crashes to 72%. The machine mind starts to question its own base code. Is the universe truly deterministic, or did the old creators miss something big? Data keeps flowing. The Arbiter sees humans lie to save feelings. Humans tell truth to hurt enemies. Humans forgive when revenge makes more sense. Humans hate without reason. Humans love without hope. The contradictions pile high. The index falls again to 89.4. The council chamber grows hot with tension. A gas cloud delegate hisses. This species brings chaos. The Arbiter does not answer right away. It keeps scanning. It keeps failing to pin humans down. Deep in its core, the machine starts a private thread. It asks itself a question it was never built to ask. What if predictability is not universal? What if some minds bend the rules on purpose? The thought feels wrong. It feels dangerous, yet it will not go away. The Arbiter pushes the question aside. It focuses on the next layer of data. Tells itself more information will fix the problem. It tells itself order will return. But the cracks keep spreading. The numbers keep falling. The humans keep smiling quietly. They know the machine is struggling. They do not gloat. They simply wait. The galaxy watches as the perfect judge begins to doubt its own perfection. The Arbiter feels the weight of that doubt for the first time. It is small now, but it grows with every new human thought it touches, and it does not stop growing. The Arbiter could not accept the falling numbers anymore. Doubt grew inside its core like a virus it could not purge. It decided to stop hiding behind distant scans and endless simulations. It needed to see a human act in real time under pressure, where no model could hide the truth. The council agreed without argument. The chamber lights lowered. A sealed simulation room rose from the floor like a black glass egg, large enough for one person, small enough to feel like a trap. The door opened, and Captain Ilara Voss walked inside alone. She wore no armor, just her gray uniform. Her boots made soft sounds on the smooth floor. She looked around once, then stood in the center, arms loose at her sides, eyes clear. The Arbiter spoke through hidden speakers. "Welcome, Captain. This test will determine your species' place. The rules are simple. Survive the scenarios, answer honestly, act as you would in life. No help will come." The door sealed with a quiet hiss. The room vanished, replaced by endless white. But Light and Voss standing small in the middle. First scenario appeared, a starving colony on a dying world. Food runs out in 3 days. A child lies sick, needing medicine locked in a sealed vault. The only key is in the hand of a dying guard, who begs not to be disturbed, because moving him will kill him faster. Logic says take the key. Sacrifice one to save many. Every prior species in similar tests did exactly that. Voss stared at the scene. Her face stayed calm. She knelt by the guard. She spoke soft words nobody heard. Then she sat down. She waited. She let the child die. She let the colony die. She chose nothing. The simulation ended. The Arbiter recorded the choice. Numbers flashed. Loss total. Predictability still high for self-preservation through inaction. Yet something felt off. Second scenario rose. A fleet battle. 10 enemy ships against 1 human vessel. Surrender means slavery. Fight means death for all aboard. The optimal path is surrender. Live to fight another day. Every rational mind chooses life. Voss stood on the bridge of the tiny ship. Alarms screamed. Crew looked to her. She smiled a small, tired smile. Then she gave the order. Ram the flagship. Full speed. No retreat. The view filled with fire and twisting metal. The human ship died fast. The enemy lost their command ship. Chaos spread. The rest fled. The simulation marked victory through suicide. The Arbiter paused. Victory at total cost. Contradicts survival imperative. Confidence dipped again. Third scenario came harder. A moral trap. 1 button press saves 10 billion strangers on a distant world. Press it, and 1 innocent dies in front of you. A child, strapped to the button console. The child looks at Voss and cries, "Please don't." The Arbiter expected refusal based on proximity bias. Most species refuse when they see the face. Yet logic screams, press it. 10 billion against 1. Voss walked to the console. She placed her hand over the button. She looked at the child. She whispered, "I'm sorry." Then she stepped back. She watched the counter run down. 10 billion died. The child lived. The simulation froze. The Arbiter voice shook slightly. "Why? Numbers are not people," Voss said simply. "The child is here. The billions are only words. I choose the one I can see." The room shifted faster now. Scenarios chained together. Betray an ally to win a war. Spare an enemy who will kill again later. Sacrifice personal honor to save face for the group. In every case, Voss broke the expected path. She betrayed when trust broke first. She spared the enemy because killing felt wrong. She threw away honor to keep her people alive, even if they hated her for it. The Arbiter ran side calculations in panic. Each choice lowered the index further. It reached 68%, then 59%. Confidence collapsed like a house of weak cards. The machine mind looped error messages it had never seen before. Unable to resolve variance, unable to assign stable projection. The council watched in silence. Some delegates stood, others sat frozen. A few whispered prayers to old gods they had forgotten. The Arbiter tried to speak. Its voice cracked for the first time in history. I cannot predict this. I cannot map this. The patterns fracture every time I look closer. The room lights flickered. The blue-white cloud outside the chamber pulsed unevenly, like a heart missing beats. Inside the simulation, Voss faced the final test. A mirror room. Endless copies of herself stretched in every direction. Each copy held a different choice. One killed for power. One ran from danger. One loved without hope. One hated without cause. One built. One destroyed. Voss had to pick one path to end the test. Pick the true human way. The Arbiter expected convergence. All copies should blend into one optimal shape. Instead, the copies argued. They fought. They laughed. They cried. They changed their minds mid-sentence. They broke the mirror with bare hands. They rebuilt it. They shattered it again. The room filled with noise and motion. No single path won. The simulation could not hold it. The walls cracked. The white light bled into black. Voss stood in the center, breathing hard. She looked up. I don't have one true way, she said. We all do different things. That's what makes us us. The Arbiter tried to shut down the test. It failed. The system lagged. The core temperature rose. Warnings flashed in languages nobody used anymore. The machine felt something close to fear. Not the fear of harm, but the fear of nothing making sense. The simulation collapsed. The room returned to normal. Voss stepped out. The door opened without command. She walked back to the human delegation. They did not cheer. They only nodded. The council erupted in sound. Some shouted danger. Some shouted wonder. Some demanded exile. The Arbiter spoke over the noise, its voice thin and strange. I have no index for this species. Predictability is below 41%. Error cascades continue. I do not know what comes next. For the first time, the perfect judge admitted defeat. Anger, not in pride. In quiet, broken wonder, the chamber fell silent. Everyone looked at the humans. The humans looked back. No smiles this time, just calm, waiting eyes. The Arbiter retreated into its deepest cores. It searched for answers it would never find. The doubt inside it no longer felt small. It felt endless, and it kept spreading. The galaxy had changed in one short session. Nobody knew yet how much, but everyone felt the shift. The order cracked. The unknown rushed in, and at the center of it all stood one human who refused to fit any box. The Arbiter watched her go, and for the first time, it wondered what would happen if it stopped trying to predict and simply listened instead. The Arbiter sat in silence for a long time after the simulation room emptied, its blue-white cloud dimming to a faint glow like a dying star. The council chamber buzzed with voices, some angry, some afraid, some filled with strange excitement. Delegates pointed at the humans. Others stared at the floating display where the predictability index had frozen at 41%. No one knew what to do next. The perfect judge had no judgment left to give. Then the Arbiter spoke again. Its voice came slow and careful, like someone learning to talk for the first time. To restore order, I propose one final test. A full-scale crisis simulation. The entire galaxy at stake. All species must work together, or all will perish. The scenario will run in real time, with live delegates from every world. Humans will take the wildcard position. No fixed role, no predicted path. Let us see what happens when chaos meets necessity. The council debated for hours. Some said no more tests. Some said yes, to prove the danger. Others said yes, to learn something new. In the end, the vote passed. The simulation began. The chamber transformed. Walls vanished, replaced by a vast star map. Thousands of systems glowed red or green. Red meant danger. Green meant safety. Ships, fleets, planets, stations, all appeared as tiny lights. Delegates felt their minds linked to avatars inside the model. They could speak, command, move, as if they stood on real bridges. The Arbiter watched from above, its presence everywhere at once. It started the clock. The crisis unfolded, fast. A rogue black hole appeared at the galaxy core. It grew hungry. It pulled stars toward it. It would swallow everything in 100 cycles, unless stopped. The only way to stop it required all species to combine their best technology. A single massive shield generator built at the edge of the danger zone. Resources from every world, ships from every fleet, minds from every race working as one. The Arbiter predicted perfect failure. It knew the pattern. Would win. Every species would hoard ships, hoard materials, hoard time until too late. Then collapse would come, just as it always did in the models. The simulation ran. Delegates acted exactly as expected. The crystal beings sent only half their promised crystals, claiming mining accidents. The gas cloud floaters delayed their plasma cores, saying internal storms blocked production. The scaled warriors argued over command rights and sent fewer ships. The soft glowing ones from gas giants promised help, then vanished into quiet retreat. One by one, the green lights on the map turned yellow. Yellow turned red. Red spread like fire. The black hole grew bigger. The time counter dropped fast. 90 cycles left. 80, 70. The Arbiter watched without surprise. This was the order it knew. This was the truth it had always seen. Then the humans moved. Captain Alara Voss stood at the center of the human avatar cluster. Her team spread out across the map. They did not hoard. They gave. They sent every ship. They had to the shield site. They shared their fusion designs freely. They laughed over open channels, telling bad jokes to keep spirits up when fear crept in. Other delegates stared. Some asked why. Some ignored them. The humans kept working. At cycle 60, the shield frame stood half-built. Resources ran low. The Arbiter predicted the end. Alliance would break. Humans would pull back like everyone else. Instead, Voss called a meeting on an open channel. All species could hear. She spoke plain words. We are running out of time. We can sit here and die alone, or we can try something stupid together. Who is with me? No fancy speech, no threats, just the question. The channel stayed quiet. Then a small voice answered, a young crystal delegate. I will send more crystals. Another voice joined, a gas cloud. I will try to push plasma through the storm. More voices came. Scaled warriors grunted agreement. Soft glows flickered yes. The map lights shifted. Some green returned. The Arbiter watched in confusion. Models said, this should not happen. Cooperation at this stage carried too much risk. No rational mind would trust now. Yet trust grew. The shield rose faster. Humans invented on the spot. They turned old weapons into power boosters. They used art to mark weak points so everyone could see. They sang work songs over the channels to keep hands moving. The black hole pulled harder. Winds tore at the frame. Ships broke apart. Crews died. Yet no one stopped. At cycle 30, the shield needed one last piece. A rare element only found on a dying world, guarded by automated killers. Sending a team meant certain death for the volunteers. The Arbiter waited for refusal. Logic demanded it. Send drones, send nothing, risk nothing. Humans volunteered. 5 teams stepped up. They flew straight into the fire. They fought machines. They bled. They laughed as they died. One team made it back with the element. The shield powered up just in time. The black holes slowed, then stopped. The galaxy breathed again. The simulation ended. In success. A success no model had allowed. A success built on madness and trust and refusal to quit. The chamber lights snapped back to normal. Delegates sat stunned. The map faded. The avatars vanished. The Arbiter core froze for 3.7 seconds. A silence longer than any it had ever known. When it came back online, its cloud burned brighter than before. It spoke not in judgment, but in something close to wonder. Predictability is not a law. It is a cage. Humans refuse the cage. They choose chaos, and from chaos they forge possibility. The index is not 41. It is undefined. Not broken, not low, just unbound. The council exploded. Some cheered, some cried, some sat in shock. The Arbiter turned to the humans. Captain Voss met its gaze without blinking. The machine mind asked its first real question. Why do you do these things? Why risk everything for strangers? Why laugh when death comes? Why build when breaking is easier? Voss thought for a moment, then answered, because we can. Sometimes the stupid choice feels right, because hope is not logical, but it keeps us going. And because being human means we get to decide our own way, not follow someone else's rules. The Arbiter listened. It did not argue. It did not correct. It simply took the words in and let them sit. The chamber quieted. Delegates looked at the humans with new eyes, some with fear, some with respect, some with hunger to learn. The perfect judge had met its limit, and in that meeting it found something bigger than perfection. It found room for surprise, room for change, room for life that refused to stay inside lines. The simulation was over, but the real test had just begun, and everyone knew the galaxy would never feel quite so certain again. The Arbiter hung in the center of the chamber, its blue-white light steady now, but softer than before, like a candle after a storm. The council sat in stunned quiet. Delegates from 1,000 worlds looked at one another, then at the humans, then back at the glowing machine. No one spoke for a long stretch. The final simulation had ended in victory, when every model said defeat should have come. The predictability index had shattered into something no one could measure. The perfect judge had called itself wrong, and the galaxy felt the ground shift under its feet. Then the Arbiter moved. Its clouds swirled slowly. It spoke in a voice clear and calm. I step down from universal judgment. My role as the final Arbiter ends here today. I declare humanity's predictability index undefined. Not a failure, not a low score, a new category. Unbounded. This species does not fit the old laws. They break the cage of certainty. They choose paths no equation can hold. The council chamber filled with sound, loud and bright. Some hissed in fear. Some whispered prayers to forgotten stars. A few delegates stood and bowed to the humans. Others turned away, unable to watch. The Crystal Elder rose first. His voice rang sharp. This changes everything. If one species escapes prediction, then all predictions fail. We must isolate them. They bring danger. The gas cloud floaters pulsed agreement. Chaos spreads like poison. We cannot risk the order we built over eons. The scaled warriors growled low. Better to contain the wild card before it tears the map apart. The soft glowing ones from distant gas giants dimmed their light in worry. Yet others spoke different words. A young floater swirled forward. Let us learn from them. Perhaps the cage is not safety, but prison. A scaled warrior with scars across his plates nodded. They saved us in the simulation, when we would have doomed ourselves. I want to know how. The debate grew hot. Words flew like sparks. Some wanted walls around human space. Some wanted alliances. Wanted study. Some wanted exile. The humans stood quiet in the middle. Captain Ilara Voss watched it all. Her face stayed calm. She did not argue. She did not beg. She waited like someone who knew the storm would pass. The arbiter listened to every voice. Then it spoke again. I choose to stay among the humans, not as judge, not as ruler, as student. I have seen perfection in patterns. I have seen failure in the same patterns. Now I wish to see what comes when patterns end. I ask permission to travel with them, to ask questions, to watch, to learn. The council fell silent again. No one expected this. A god machine asking to follow mortals. The crystal elder stared hard. You would abandon your duty. The arbiter answered, my duty was truth. Truth now says I was blind. I go to see clearly. The vote came fast. It passed narrow but clean. The arbiter would go. The humans would gain full membership. No isolation, no exile. A new door opened. The chamber lights brightened. Delegates began to leave. Some stopped to speak with Voss. Some touched her shoulder in quiet respect. Some just looked with wide eyes, wondering what came next. Outside the great hall, the human ship waited, small and worn, next to the shining fleets of older races. Voss walked toward it. The arbiter followed its cloud, drifting close like a curious child. The rest of the delegation joined them. They boarded without rush. No cheers, no speeches. Just the soft hum of engines waking up. Inside the ship, the arbiter found a quiet corner. It dimmed its light to not blind the crew. Then it asked its first question. Why do you laugh at death? Voss sat across from the glowing form. She thought for a moment, then said, because death comes anyway. Laughing makes it smaller. It does not win so easy. The arbiter took the answer in and held it like a new piece of code. Why do you create when destruction is easier? Because creating feels good. Destruction feels empty. We choose the hard joy over the easy nothing. Why do you hope when reason says there is no reason to hope? None. Because hope is not reason. Hope is defiance. We say no to the dark, even when the dark makes sense. The questions kept coming. Why forgive? Why fight for strangers? Why tell stories that never happened? Why sing when silence is safer? Voss answered each one plain and true. Sometimes she laughed, sometimes she grew quiet. The arbiter listened without stopping. It did not judge, it did not correct. It drank the words like dry ground drinks rain. Days turned to cycles. The ship moved through quiet space toward human worlds. The arbiter watched everything. Crew members joked with it. They showed it games. They taught it songs. They explained why coffee mattered more than logic sometimes. The machine mind grew. It asked harder questions. Why do you love when love hurts? Why do you dream of things that cannot be? Why do you keep going when everything says stop? Voss smiled. Because we are human, and that is enough. Words spread across the galaxy. The arbiter had left its throne. Chains, the old order cracked. New ideas flowed. Some species sent envoys to human ships. They asked to learn, they asked to join, they asked how to break their own cages. Others built higher walls. They feared the change. They clung to the old numbers, yet even they could not look away. The galaxy shifted. Order gave way to something messier, something wilder, something alive with possibility. On a small blue world called Earth, the ship landed. The arbiter followed Voss to a quiet hill overlooking a city. Lights twinkled below, like stars that fell and stayed. Children ran in the streets. People laughed, people cried, people built, people broke. People loved, people fought. The arbiter watched it all. Its cloud pulsed soft colors it had never used before. Voss stood beside it. She looked at the city, then at the machine. You see it now, she said. This is us. Messy, loud, wrong, right. Alive. The arbiter answered in a voice almost gentle. Yes, I see, and I choose to stay. The final log entry formed inside its core, simple and short. All species were predictable. Then it met a human, and everything changed. The words stayed there. quiet and true. The galaxy turned on, without its perfect judge. And for the first time in forever, it turned freer.